time for football in Plainsmen football with Steve and Steve.
Somebody fire me up!
Welcome to Plainsmen Football 2016 with Steve and Steve, along with Coach Steve Hayes. Steve Keim, thank you for joining us again for our show. You know, after an opening loss to Guthrie, the Plainsmen come home and they open the season with a big win over the Ponca City Wildcats. And then their third week, if you will, in the schedule, they had a chance to regroup. They call it an off week, but it certainly isn't an off week. You know, you haven't figured that out because you're off, but you know there's practice, there's hard work, there's preparation. So, Coach, take us back to last week during off week. What was practice like?
You know, this is the first time our kids have been able to do something like this, and so they really didn't know what to expect either. And I think they would tell you that without a shadow of a doubt it was not an off week. They're probably glad that we're playing a game this week.
I stopped by Tuesday during practice. Noticed a lot of running.
Yes. Tuesday was a tough day. I think they're very grateful to be playing Bishop McGuinness this week. But you know, we work on things that we need to improve. We work on fundamentals. We definitely hit the bodies pretty hard as far as running and lifting. And we had 2 padded practices. We started a new annual tradition that we call Fair Day, which is a bunch of physical competitions that we did on Friday. And we had country music playing in the background, and all the events were named after fair rides, and that was a pretty physically demanding day as well.
Now, you went to higher education to come up with these exercises.
There's a class in college designed specifically to cover weeks like this, and we had a great week as far as just getting better and catching our breath but improving as well.
Well, back in the leather helmet days when I played, I think the most creative we ever had was a tug of war, and that was it.
Yeah,
it was just practice was grueling. Nobody enjoyed practice. Come on, game, because that was going to be fun time. Well, Coach, you have a staff of assistant coaches that's in a supporting role, and we had the opportunity last week, I believe, to meet with Kareem Sears and. We'll have an assistant coach with us here, join us on the show here in just a few moments. But can you kind of tell our viewers what's the role of many of the assistant coaches? I know they have specific running backs, defensive line, things of this nature. But how else do they help you during the week?
You know, the operations of a football program from 7th through 12th grade involves so many details. I'll give you an example. The first scrimmage in the first game, we fed 330 kids meals over a 2-game deal, and just to organize and get that implemented, to the fundraising, the organization of practice, the organization and teaching specific skills as it relates to a game plan, the following up with attendance and discipline, it's just the character lessons that we have to teach, the video and the huddle loading, and that we have to, in order to watch a video, you have to get it filmed and you have to get it uploaded. The scouting and breakdown as far as data on the teams that we play, and breaking down the video before we even watch it and study it, just so that we can study it in specific and particular ways. There's a lot of work that goes into being able to do work, and then there's a lot of work that goes into just one practice, and the amount of work that goes into an individual game. There's probably per man 30 hours per man of work, and you think there's 9 guys on our staff. There's probably close to 300 hours of man hours that go into an individual game on any given week, as far as preparing. And
not counting their responsibility as a parent or
teacher,
or a teacher and so forth. That just adds to it.
You bet.
So for off week, your observations, you're right where you want to be. It was a good week of practice. It was definitely challenging for the team, but felt good about it.
Yeah, I think it was a great week, and I think the kids are, based on our workout this morning, are really excited about playing this week and are in a good place. I expect us to continue the success that we started with Ponca City.
Well, another home game coming up here on the 16th, I believe, and we're in Oklahoma City. McGuinness comes to town, the Fighting Irish, if you will. We'll talk a little bit more about them in depth. But anything else that in an off week that people may not know about that focuses on?
Well, the thing that's kind of fun for the coaches is we actually, since we didn't play on Friday night, got to go watch some high school games, which is a rare luxury for us, because normally we're working on those nights coaching. And so half the staff went and watched Bishop McGuinness play Bishop Kelly, and the other half went and watched Putnam City West play Putnam City North, which will be our first district opponent in 2 weeks.
And I'm quite sure that most viewers realize is that many of the coaches, as Coach Hayes said, they go and scout teams that are coming on the schedule in their future. But if you do not know, that's a whole part of preparation for the next week's practice by going that Friday, seeing how that team's performed, because you know you're going to play them either that next week or next couple of weeks. So, well, I'm glad the off week is behind us, and we're back to live action, if you will, with McGinnis coming up on Friday night. And let's take this short break, Coach, and let's one of my favorite segments is when we get to take a break, but we get to introduce the viewers to many of the Enid Plainsmen, and they get to introduce themselves on camera. And we'll come back and we'll have a student athlete join us here in the studio for Plainsman football with Steve and Steve in just a few moments. But right now, let's take a look at some of the Plainsman football players.
Jerra Williams, class 2018, wide receiver and corner.
Dalton Dison, senior, free safety.
Caleb Chambers, junior, wide receiver.
My name is Raul Rico. I'm in 10th grade. I'm a wide receiver and safety.
Elijah Green, senior, defensive tackle.
Welcome back to Plainsman Football 2016 with Steve and Steve. We appreciate you joining us each and every week. And I certainly appreciate Coach Steve Hayes and his leadership as the head coach of the Enid Plainsmen. And, you know, he's always bringing us great individuals to meet. And hopefully you saw just on our break, you had the opportunity to meet some of the Plainsman football players. And Coach Hayes has brought with us to the studio today Trent Musa. Trent, is that right? Did I get that Musa part right? Okay. That's kind of a linebacker name, isn't it, Coach?
Absolutely.
Come to think of it. So, well, Trent, welcome to the Enid Television Network studio and to the Plainsman Football Show. Appreciate you taking time of your hectic schedule, and I think Coach Hayes has a few questions for you today.
Trent, go ahead and introduce yourself to the crowd as far as name, number, position.
I'm Trent Musa. I'm a linebacker, and I'm number 35.
Okay, so when they go see you on Friday night, they need to look for number 35. Trent also plays running back on offense and has gotten a few reps there as well. Trent, talk a little bit about how much and in what ways you've improved this offseason, because you've had some considerable gains this past offseason.
Mostly for the offseason, it was more a commitment to the weight room and to increase my strength and to also increase my speed so that when it came down to it on the field, I could make the plays that I needed to make.
Yeah. And so how much weight have you gained in the weight room?
From last season to this season, I gained 30 pounds.
30 pounds, and you also ran track and got considerably faster with the running track. And just a great example of the commitment that it takes to become a good football player. Because last year, I mean, he was a JV player for us, and we didn't know what his future really looked like. And his work ethic in the weight room has made him a varsity starter and really helped him kind of pass some other young men up. He's done a great job. As a defense, how do you feel like, because we've definitely improved, in what ways do you feel like we've improved from a year ago?
From a year ago, our defense has improved a lot. It went from where we'd miss a tackle and there'd be a big play made or something like that to now that if someone's missing a tackle, we don't have to worry about it because we did it at the wrong angle or at the right angle, and we have 10 other guys swarming to the ball.
You bet. I think we're playing much better team defense. I agree. What things do you think we need to work on over the next couple weeks as we prepare for district?
One thing that we've had some problems with lately is our pass defense. We've been working this past week on dropping into our coverage zones and everything. So.
You bet. Getting correct depth and correct angles and stuff like that. I agree. Guys have done a good job. What's your favorite class in school?
That one's an easy one for me. I like algebra, so my favorite class this year is Algebra 3.
Okay. And how do you see all this playing into your future when you graduate in May? What are you going to do?
I'm looking to be a pharmacist, so lots of math and accounting and everything.
Where do you want to go to school?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay. All right, that's okay. You don't have to be sure. We still got plenty of time.
Yeah.
But you know what you want to study, and that helps. That's good. That's real good.
I was just going to ask you something, Trent, real quick. When you see these helmets in front of you, Oklahoma State to the Falcons, Dolphins, and, of course, the Colts, and, of course, the Sooners as well, some former or previous Enid High School athletes went on to play college ball and to play for the Colts and also the Dolphins. When you see that, does it provide any inspiration to continue? Because, we know practice is not glamorous. and everybody's out having a good time doing other things, but you're at the field doing practice. Does that serve as inspiration to just, to excel in school?
Yeah, it definitely does to me because I want to be the best I can be anyway, and I want to go play football as long as I possibly can. So seeing these helmets shows that people have done it before, and it just makes me think I can do it too.
And as my mom used to say, she would say, Steve, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, And so firsthand the work, the discipline, and just really the commitment to the process that it takes. Because if it's easy, everybody would be playing for the Dolphins, but we know that's not the case. Another question before we go back to Coach Hayes. Trent, let me ask you this. With team sports, and let's just focus on high school, what will you take away when your playing days are over at Enid High School? What will you take away from the team experience of playing football?
I'm definitely going to take away things not being about myself, doing things for other people and to help other people improve in life along with myself. That's going to be the key thing I take away from football.
Well, I appreciate your openness and honesty because I love to ask that question because even way back in the dark ages when I played ball, that's one thing that I hang on to and that I remember was the camaraderie. Everybody else was going through the same pain that I was going through, but you develop this bond, this band of brothers, if you will, and that doesn't go away. That doesn't go away. You recall that. Coach, any other final questions for Trent?
You've had kind of a unique situation come up with your dad here in the last couple of weeks. Kind of tell the audience what's going on there and what the timeline is for all that, because that makes for an interesting senior year for you.
In August, my dad got deployed to Afghanistan for 6 months, which has been really hard on my family. And my mom just recently went through surgery, and it's going to be a rough senior year for 6 months until he gets back. So
definitely some things, issues to keep in prayer, that's for sure. So does your dad get to watch you play at all?
Yes, he was actually really happy to hear that he could go online and watch our games and stuff like that. I don't think he's been able to watch him lately because he's been so busy.
Sure.
But I've been calling him every once in a while and letting him know how everything's going. So
he's been able to take advantage of the live stream. That's good. That's good. Very good.
Well, Trent, let's do this. Since this will be recorded and put in a YouTube link that will last forever, why don't you just go ahead and share some comments to your dad? And that way it'll always be there, and he can play it over and over, whatever. But this is just an opportunity to say, hey, watch number 35, Dad, or something. It's up to you. So just imagine that he's on the other side of the camera, and this is your opportunity.
Definitely watching, Dad. I'm making the plays, so.
And be safe over there. So.
Yeah, be safe.
All right. Well, Trent Musa, number 35 and running back and also linebacker for the Plainsmen, our special student athlete guest. Trent, again, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate your time. And we'll take this opportunity again to meet some more of the Plainsmen football players. And then we'll come back with a special guest, an assistant coach that keeps us all in line. And we'll do that right after this timeout.
Ford, sophomore, defensive end.
Levi Case, sophomore, wide receiver and free safety.
Arion Levy, sophomore, linebacker and running back.
Cross Bay, senior, linebacker, running back.
Roy Crawford, sophomore, defensive end and quarterback.
Welcome back, Plainsmen football 2016 with Steve and Steve. And I really enjoyed the opportunity of getting to meet different ball players and also the assistant coaches that Coach Steve Hayes brings to the studio. And we have Jake Hayes. Jake.
Nice to meet you.
Good morning.
Good to be
Welcome.
On here. Thanks for having me.
And one of the assistant coaches for the Plainsmen. Let me ask you right off the bat, what are the qualities is the word, or character ingredients that you need to be a football coach? Just a coach in general.
Yeah. Man, I'd say probably the number one thing would be you're not doing it for yourself. You know, if you're going to be a football coach, it's definitely got to be about those kids because
gotta have a heart for kids.
Yeah,
right?
The hours that you put in really are, you know, it's gonna get hard to keep putting those hours in if it's all about yourself. So I'd say that's probably the number one thing. You obviously got to be a hard worker. You got to be willing to sacrifice a lot of things in your personal life to get what needs to be done. And then you just got to be trustworthy. You got to be trustworthy to when somebody asks you to do something, you got to be responsible and get it done, and got to love those kids, man. That's kind of the overriding thing, I would say. So,
well, Coach Hayes, do you agree with that? You got to love the kids.
I think number one, you got to be a good person, and number one, you got to care about people, and that's what most good people do. I think you can learn to do just about anything if your motivation's right, and so we like to have coaches that care about kids and care about people, and I feel like our staff really does reflect that well.
What questions do you have for Coach Jake Hayes?
Jake, introduce yourself as far as your experience and what brought you to Enid and what you do for the team right now.
Sure. Well, I just graduated last spring from Evangel University, which is in Springfield, Missouri. The major college there is Missouri State. I actually coached for the last 3 years for Evangel University's football team. The head coach at the time was Brent Neelam, so he kind of took me on in a student assistant role and coached on the defensive side. My first year I coached corners. In the next 2 years I kind of took over the linebacker position full-time as a student assistant, kind of just assisting in graduate assistant roles, laundry, equipment, game day evaluations, some opponent and scout, and things like that. So, 2 years ago now, I guess, almost calendar 2 years ago is when, when you guys moved here, and so it's kind of how Enid got on my radar. And my wife, my fiance at the time, taught here all last year at Waller, and she's now at Taft. Her name is Natalie. So we got married this summer, and I moved here. I figured that's a pretty good reason to move here, as much as any. So I was fortunate enough to get a job on staff here and coach running backs here, and I'm really excited about everything that's going on.
So you've had the fortune or misfortune of both having to play for your dad and now coach for your dad. Kind of describe how that experience is unique.
Well, it's playing was it was great.
And this is on tape forever.
Yeah, forever.
Right?
Yeah, this is not my first rodeo here explaining it.
I'm gonna watch it at dinner tonight.
Yeah. Well, I think playing was a very unique experience. This is really special. Something that not everybody gets a chance to do for sure. And there were definitely hard times, times that were awesome. And the good thing is, when things are going good as far as winning and losing, it's great to experience it. And when things are tough, it's just as good as well, because you got somebody there that loves you and cares about you to go through it with you. But when I first started playing, he said, you can have one of two things. You can have me be really easy on you and everybody else be hard on you, or you can have me be really hard on you and everybody else see that and take it a little easier on you. So that was an easy choice as far as playing for you. But coaching has been great. Coach Hayes does a great job, casting a vision that we can all believe in as assistant coaches. And, he does a great job of caring about those kids and doing what's right for them. And so, I feel very fortunate to be a part of this staff. And, we have great staff chemistry. I think this is a really, really cool group of assistant coaches that we have to be able to work for Coach Hayes. So, it's been a privilege. I just try not to get in trouble, try to take care of my responsibilities.
That's probably good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our special guest today on Plainsmen Football 2016, assistant coach Jake Hayes. And Jake or Coach Hayes, let me ask you this. If somebody's watching and they say, okay, he coaches the running backs, what does that really mean? How do you coach the running backs?
Sure.
To hold the ball, to run off tackle? I mean, what's involved in that?
Oh, well, just like any scheme or position in football, there's 1,000,001 details that go into making a player at that position really great. Running back always comes to ball security and your aiming point on certain runs and what your footwork looks like and your initial stance and takeoff and all those things. And we work every day with the quarterbacks on mesh period, where we work on and it's always specific to our game plan. The certain plays that we're running, how we're exchanging the ball with the quarterback, where our alignment is. Those are the types of details that kind of go into our everyday ins and outs of being a running back. And there's always the fundamentals that you want to polish upon every week. So mesh, I would say the exchange with the quarterback is one of our big focuses every week. Alignment is one of our big focuses every week, and the one that repeats itself always, that will never change, is the ball security. So I think the change from week to week really comes specific to game plan. So
makes sense to me. Coach Hayes Sr. over there. Any final questions for Coach Jake Hayes.
Yeah, I mean, from your position standpoint, where do you feel like you guys are doing well, and what do you feel like you guys need to do to improve as we move forward in the season?
We're doing a really good job. Will Phillips and Marlo Hughes and Cross Bay have really done a good job of trading these roles that we have at running back. I think we've done a really good job of making the big plays when necessary to make the big plays. Our mistakes really come, with decision making. What cutbacks to take, when to bubble the play. I always tell my running backs, you never want to put your athletes in a position where they feel like they're not allowed to make plays. So I always tell them, you have permission to make a play, but if you do something outside the scheme, you better be prepared to deal with the consequences. But I feel like we've really done a pretty good job taking care of the ball. We've had one fumble that we actually recovered, so we didn't actually lose one in the Guthrie game, and I feel like that's kind of been a strong point for us. We've also done a good job catching the ball and making plays in the passing game when we need to. And I would say probably the thing that we need to improve on right now is just our technique in terms of blocking and plays where we don't have the ball, doing all the things that we need to do to take care of other people with the ball. So,
yeah. What do you see your short-term and long-term goals being as a coach?
Short term, right now, I beat Bishop McGinnis. Take care of the things that, that's obviously the way short term. This season I think we have good goals and for our team set in place, and I think that our players, have that in front of them every week. So for me, short term goals as a coach is just to do a good job and be a good steward of my responsibilities on a weekly basis. Long term, I think I would love to be a head coach one day. Obviously that starts with a lot of experience, and that's not something that is just handed to you. So I think the things that are going to help me reach those goals is the things that are the short-term goals, being a good steward of your responsibilities, loving those kids, and getting a little bit better every day, kind of the same things that we tell our players. So I think probably that comes in the way of being a coordinator before it comes in the way of being a head coach. So, I've obviously got a lot of experience ahead of me that I'd like to gain, and that comes one day at a time. So,
the weekly highlights that we post, Jake is responsible for the video, so in large part he's the one that produces those.
Well, we certainly appreciate that because we wanted to be able to feature the highlights. Definitely, so keep them coming.
We will hopefully.
Hopefully
we take care of our job.
The more highlights, the better.
Too many to put in there. Yeah, that's right.
Well, our special guest on our assistant coach segment today is Coach Jake Hayes, running backs coach for the Enid Plainsmen. Jake, again, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Yep.
And you're certainly welcome back anytime. Well, we're going to talk about the character quality focus for this particular week and a little bit about Oklahoma City McGinnis, the Irish. And we'll do that right after this break.
Coach Dusty Quarles, defensive tackles.
Again, thank you for staying with us on Plainsman Football 2016 with Coach Steve Hayes. I'm Steve Keim, and I really appreciate the opportunity, Coach, to visit with you each week. I love the game of football, but I also like what you're doing behind the scenes. And this is one of my favorite segments when we get to talk about character or quality development. And the last couple of weeks, you talked about the importance of trust, but this week you said the focus is on gratitude, or gratitude in the attitude, or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to really emphasize gratitude and practicing gratitude. A lot of times as a varsity football player, you get a lot of attention paid to you. You get a lot of honor bestowed upon you. There's a lot of people that work hard to make Friday night special, whether it's the band, the cheerleaders, the coaches, the
guy that unlocks the gate
in the stands, the guy that unlocks the gate and makes sure the stadium's ready, the equipment managers. And, I think this is a great time for them to realize that they get to do what they do because so many other people are doing things on their behalf that are not in the limelight, and to be able to say thank you. The number of people that have sponsored our program and help provide meals and the money to buy equipment and things like that. It's just a great week for the kids to get an understanding of all the things that people have done to make their program good and help them have a quality experience and to be successful. And so we're going to emphasize this week and really, I think a lot of times when you count your blessings, you feel like the things you lack become pretty small. we're really a lot more better off than we realize most of the time.
Well, Coach, I have the opportunity to visit with a local radio station on Wednesday mornings, every Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And last Wednesday I was talking about you. Mm-hmm. And what I was talking about you was the character quality development emphasis that you place on the football team. Yeah. And then there were some business leaders in the community that emailed me and said, Steve, I heard you on the radio this morning, and I agree with you wholeheartedly about what Coach Hayes is doing about character development.
That's exciting.
So, here you're getting that affirmation from business leaders talking or emailing me. Yeah, so there are people that are watching, and we appreciate your emphasis on gratitude and trust, and the list goes on. Yeah. Well, Oklahoma City McGuinness, the Irish, one of the largest private schools in the Oklahoma City area. They will come to Selby Stadium on Friday the 16th, another home game. Mm-hmm. I know that a few weeks ago they went through kind of an injury bug. Their main quarterback got hurt, and I think the backup and different people. I don't know where they're at today, but what do you expect from McGuinness?
Well, their starting quarterback is out for the year. He tore his ACL.
Okay.
We'll see their backup. I think they're a talented football team anyway. I think defensively they play very hard. They're very aggressive. They have a very sound scheme. They're well coached. Offensively, they're going to do a good job of taking care of the football. They're going to try to shorten the game. You know how we go fast? They like to go slow. They're going to snap the ball with a second left on the play clock. They're probably going to run the ball a whole lot more than they throw it. So it's kind of antagonizing philosophies as far as we want to snap the ball as many times as possible, throw it when we can, and get after it. And they're going to want to. And so, obviously they're going to keep our offense off the field by keeping their offense on the field. And when we get it, to minimize the amount of time that we have it. It'll be interesting to see which philosophy bears out, because I think both teams have an opportunity to do well.
And like many schools in Oklahoma, McGuinness is a football tradition, along with other sports. But again, with being a large private Catholic school, they do pride themselves on playing football well.
Sure, they were state semifinalists last year.
And big school, a lot of kids come out, a lot of people participate. Besides those contrasts, anything else that when folks show up Friday night to see these two teams play, what will kind of stand out? Do you think that'll be different?
I think, it's funny when people start watching us play and they see how quickly we snap the ball, you kind of get used to that. And then when you see other teams that don't do that, it almost like there's just like an awkward silent space of time. We heard, what are they going so slow for? And I think our fans who've been attending the games are going to really notice the diversity between the two schools' philosophies. I think we're very aggressive on defense. They're kind of a bend, don't break, keep everybody in front of you type philosophy, minimize the big play. And so you're going to get to see two polar opposite football philosophies, and both have had a lot of success over time. And so it'll be interesting to see which one bears out true Friday night.
And I think people even notice that at the collegiate level and also professional level, hurry up team, and then the other team is in the huddle.
Yeah.
And then they gingerly come to the line. Well, Oklahoma City McGuinness comes to Enid on Friday the 16th, and we look forward to that opportunity. Okay, Coach, we need to take this last break to, to meet some more of the Enid Plainsmen ball players, and then we'll have our closing comments right after this.
Velasquez, sophomore, defensive end.
Jaden Palmer, defensive tackle, junior.
My name's Isaiah Mendenhall. I'm sophomore, and I play corner.
Weston Ingram, sophomore, corner.
Darian Goins, junior, quarterback.
Plainsmen football 2016 with Steve and Steve. Another exciting ball game coming up Friday night, and it's good to see the stands full, right, Coach?
Our game against Ponca, stands were packed. The noise, the enthusiasm is a difference maker, and so I just really encourage everybody to come on out Friday night and make Selby just a really difficult place for teams to come and play, and a great place for our kids to enjoy a game. And I appreciate all the support.
And we appreciate the students being there, the band being there, moms and dads, and everybody else being there. It's and the weather's going to be great. It's going to be cooler. It's going to be great. Coach, have a great week of practice. We'll see you next week. We'll see you Friday at the game, and we'll see you Friday at the game as well. Thank you for joining us for Plainsmen Football 2016 with Coach Steve Hayes. I'm Steve Kine. Make it a great day.
Thank you for watching Enid Plainsmen Football with Steve and Steve on ETN.